2019. We'll go ahead and give our, take our head on in prayer. Chad, you lead us.
Dear Lord, I thank you for everything you've done for us. I pray, Lord, that you be with every family that's represented here, be with us, Lord, and make decisions for the city that's best for the city and the people. Be with all our firefighters, police department, our EMTs, and our soldiers. Be with everybody on the way home, keep us all safe. Thank you, Lord, for everything again. Amen.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I would like to amend the agenda because one is a typo. Under 8F, it is supposed to be July for the dumpster days. And the other amendment is under 9, to discuss and vote on the budget, and CIP is supposed to be a public hearing for tonight. For the actual voting.
July.
Yeah, it's July 5th. It's correct on everything except the,
So it's July
through the 15th. And it's set up to empty. When they drop it on Friday, they pick it up, dump it. Monday, pick it up, dump it. Thursday, and pick it up final time Monday morning.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the amended agenda, please?
Make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Yes, thank you. All right, you guys all got a copy of the April the 15th, 2019 council meeting minutes in our binder here, and the May the 16th, 2019 council minutes. Take a moment to look over it, and then let's, I'd like a motion to approve April the 15th.
I'll make the motion.
April the 15th. You get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the May the 6th, 2019 council minutes, please?
Make a motion to approve May 6th council meeting minutes.
I'll say.
All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. All right, executive session personnel. Can I get a motion to adjourn to executive session?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll say.
All in favor? Okay. Reports. Lieutenant Simmons, could you give your report to Cherokee County, please?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everybody. We had another good month in Nelson. 7 calls. Breaks down like this, we had one domestic dispute that was a verbal, nobody went to jail or anything. We had one accident, there's a typo on the, well, it's my fault. It was, the accident was not on the 372 connector, it was out here on the Nelson between the stair place and Pink Marble Road. That's where the accident actually happened. It was a motorcycle, single motorcycle accident. He was DUI, we turned that over to our heat unit. And we had the one drug arrest, which was over here at the Edmondson Park, misdemeanor amount of marijuana. The other 4 were just information calls, where we were answering calls and explaining stuff to some of the residents. So that was kind of it.
Yeah, good deal.
Yeah, the only other thing I wanted to mention was we're having our town hall meeting tomorrow at 6:30 at Revolution Church. It's for everybody that encompasses our area of Cherokee County. Everybody's invited. You get to hear me talk some more, and I crack some of my stupid jokes. We try and have a good time. So if anybody wants to be there, the whole public's invited.
That's the same place it was last year?
Yes. Revolution Church. It's Union Hill and Highway 20. Can't miss it. Huge building, big R on it. Can't miss it. That's it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, a couple things I'd like to go over. One of those is everybody should have received their flyer by now for our movie in the park next Saturday. There was a small typo on there, so if we have a rain out, it will be the following Saturday. So just keep that in mind. We'll post that also on our websites and out front, so. But we're hoping that we don't rain, I hope it doesn't rain, and we're hoping for good weather. Keep your fingers crossed on that. Next thing so our city attorney's been getting some phone calls. If you have a dispute with a neighbor or you have a dispute with somebody else, if you call our city attorney, you get charged his rates, and the city doesn't pay for that. Okay, so keep that in mind. Disputes, 911, non-emergency, correct, Officer Simmons?
Yes, ma'am.
Not our city attorney. Miranda could not be here to go over the financial reports today. For those of you who stay on top of those for the city, if you'll email us, we'll get you a copy of those out. I think she did put a copy in here, didn't she?
There wasn't one, not for this month,
Okay.
because normally there's a whole.
Miranda will email those to you. She sent her apologies. She's out with a personal matter, so we'll hope to have those out by the 27th. Yeah. So when we do our follow-up meeting. All right. Number 8, unfinished business. Kennesaw Avenue Drainage Project update. Okay. Come on up and give us an update, please.
When we last met, we were kind of going over the Kennesaw Ave drainage project. They put the bid on hold. We had some contractors come in and they threw out some ideas of alternative design. Some of them said it would be cheaper, so we kind of went back to the drawing board and we added an alternative design. And it may be cheaper, it may not be cheaper. All contractors are scared to shore the roads, and they think it's going to cost more. And I personally don't think it will cost more, but now in the new bid, there'd be an alternative design. So while we kind of took a little break on the bid, last council meeting we had, there was some concerns about, because we're going to use the existing marble culvert that's in place. It's been there for 50 plus years, so it was like, hey, we have no video of the culvert. We had videos of all the pipes leading to the culvert, and they showed the deterioration and the connection to the actual square culvert. It's kind of the reason we're doing it. So we went ahead and hired some people to come in there, videoed it. Not only did the video it, they cleaned it all out, and it really needed to be cleaned, so it looks a lot better. And based on the video, overall the culvert is structurally sound. Doesn't seem to be, there's no leaking hose, there's little cracks here and there that's just stress cracks. It's common with rock, concrete, or anything else. So now we just have to, we're back to setting dates, setting the bid dates, and kind of moving forward. That's kind of up to you guys. One thing that we need to kind of figure out is kind of where we stand on the right-of-way, the new right-of-way, I guess. Has that been recorded? And then Georgia Power. They're supposed to be working on.
You talking about the new right-of-way out here
Yes.
with Evans?
Mhm.
Has that been recorded, Joel?
I think so, because it was all the stuff I
Okay.
sent over, and then I think I have all the documentation from them.
Then it's just Georgia Power.
I saw the email chain back and
Yeah,
forth.
and we got that kind of prompt them. Everything goes slow with Georgia Power, but they've got the design and the plans and.
You want to copy me on an email to them? I'll
Okay.
blast out something as well.
And what I can do is send you guys some proposed dates, like we
That's
did
great.
before.
Yeah,
Just
and-
list out everything from the bid to the, and again, the alternative design, if it's higher, throw it out. And the other reason it was good, you guys, we only had kind of 2, maybe 3 contractors that were really 2 that would probably be listed. Hopefully by the advertisement, we know how to do it now. We can get more people involved, and we really need more than 2 contractors.
Well, we do another pre-bid meeting.
Yes.
Okay, Evan actually brought a guy over here the other day that, I didn't catch his name, but
Knew
he
it,
does all that.
did it.
He got all the plans, everything from us, but he was asking, and I told him I thought so.
Yeah, I've already told the 2 that was here, and I'll reach back out to them and say,
Yeah,
more people's invited to the party. because
negative
you get it
Miranda.
better.
And so when do you think you'll have those proposed dates to us?
I'll send it to you tomorrow. but-
Copy Miranda, please, and we'll go ahead and get that, yeah, we'll get that set up and get it started,
Okay.
get it advertised.
Any other questions?
Anybody have any questions for Barry? Barry, thank you.
We're proposing just connecting to the box covers there, or we're gonna bid it out like that.
Yeah.
I mean, worst case scenario, we can shut the road down while they do the shoring up, can we not?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be better than digging that whole road.
Absolutely. And that, but if they come back and say it's $100,000 cheaper to, I don't see how it's gonna be cheaper to have to
No,
replace
it's
Kennesaw
gonna
Ave.
be.
But that was just something they threw out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll wind up, they'll shore it up. And if we need to, we can shut down the road.
Yeah, I mean, that could be the worst case. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, item B, discuss and vote on the city website. Do you have additional information on that?
No, there's a payment on here. What was that?
We've talked about it before.
That's perfect. He needs a deposit of $2,500 to start it. We just need to agree, though, whatever, that we're good to get going.
It's for the city website that we had voted, and discussed and voted last month, but we did not vote on the down payment. Miranda suggested that we do as much as we could. I think we had 5,000 in the budget.
I don't remember discussing the website. I don't know either.
We did it, we actually voted on it, I think, last year, and it just kind of stalled out, because Tina was talking to the guy from GMA about it.
Yeah. But what he was proposing wasn't, I'll recap. What he was proposing was just a generic website. It wasn't anything special at all. He no longer does it. They referred us to somebody else. It's going to be, that one would be a lot more, probably about 20, I think it was $2,600 more than what Keith's company did to do it. And we get somebody that actually, we'll get somebody trained to have access to it, to where they can update it. Talked to Ms. Sue Cochran about adding a history tab on there, and maybe doing an article, bi-monthly article or something like that. It'll be state-of-the-art website, and it won't be housed on GoDaddy. It'll be housed on a more secure server. The server has locations in different areas of the United States, and if one goes down, then another server will reroute to another server, so it doesn't ever work. We can do the same as we do now, which was pay sanitation on there. We're looking at maybe getting it to where you can pay your taxes online as well. That would help some of the citizens to be able to, without having to come into the city hall to pay taxes, they could pay them online. So we're looking at that as well. So with that, in order to get started, there is a down payment of, I think we have, it's half of what it would cost.
That's what he required, but I think Miranda had said that if we want to pay more, that would be taken out of this fiscal year before it goes into the
I mean, we got anything showing the total cost of everything
Total cost is $6,000.
a year?
No, $6,000 one time, and then it's I believe it was, is it a $200 a year fee to, hosting fee was $200 a year, which is very cheap, by the way. We're paying more than that now.
I mean, I think we need to table this and we discuss it some more and have some.
just really bad. It's difficult to navigate. There's just, if you can find time, just come down, I'll go over it and I can show you. He sent copies or examples of other cities and businesses that he's done, just to show like the layout of the other ones. And
This is another one of those things that was voted on, everybody voted, it was approved, it just never went forward.
I don't remember ever voting on approving it, so.
You get the.
I do, I just don't, yeah, I'll
I'll
find
get the
it.
information on it for you.
I mean, what are we advertising? I mean,
It's just for the city. I mean, most cities have a very high end, like if you go on another city's website, there's all kinds of other links and pictures and just documentation and history, and
Being able to pay on, we can't pay on one you got now.
it takes you, you have to go to a different site.
and we've got more, how many prices we got on this?
We had, Tina had several of
We
them.
had several, they just weren't very low, and they weren't
Tailored to the city.
They weren't tailored to the city,
They're
they were
generic.
generic. They and this one's more tailored to our city.
We probably still need to get more pricing on that.
But we have all the pricing, how many, I mean, we've got, I know we've got at least 3, do you want more than that?
This year, we got 3.
Well, we've got the one from the GMA, and then we got the ones from, yeah, for this year, because it was on for, we were trying to get it done for July the 1st, because we had already, it was budgeted for and everything. So it was,
That's the first I've heard of it, that's one.
okay, yeah, it's okay. It was budgeted for, and it was budgeted $5,000. We got pricing from the GMA and I believe 2 other people. One's a Harris, David Harris, I think is his name. You can go in there and pull it, but I think it's
Here, there was
Harris.
another one that's.
And then
called
there's
several
one
times
more.
and Email and left
Yeah.
messages.
And I believe that, and I can't remember his name, but we've got, yeah. And I guess she had gone forward with everything, but,
She was still in discussion.
she was still in
with the
discussion.
GMA,
And I think she had decided to go with the GMA, but the people that were doing it with the GMA no longer do it. So that's where it was. And with what Miranda said, rather than moving and giving a reason why we didn't do it and pushing it into another year, we're better off if we can, if we're going to get started on it, then we go ahead and do it in this physical year versus pushing it into our next year, which I agree with. But we'll get additional information. So hosting, just make a note, hosting is $200. And I don't know what we're paying GoDaddy now, but you can check
I
on
just
that.
paid it, we're in the check it.
Okay.
Do you want to vote to table that?
I'll make a motion.
Yeah, we'll table it to the next meeting.
Since it says you're going to vote, so
Yeah.
you can vote to do that.
Vote to table it.
So
You make a
you
motion to
move-
table it.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. So we're going to re-vote on
27.
July 27th. All right, C is to discuss and vote on compensation for the council and mayor.
We'd actually voted on this previously, but this was the legality of running what I had and making intent to take action and all that.
Yeah, and then I think it gets published and we prepare an ordinance for you to vote on next month, I believe.
Okay.
So we have, and the ad has to run for what, 3 weeks, I think?
I believe that's
The
right.
ad's running, yeah.
Okay.
So
It's running out.
yeah.
Had you established the amount? I know this was probably last
We
year.
had said $50 previously, so that's what we voted on before our meeting. So we need to wait to vote, we have the actual ordinance in place to vote on.
Yes.
We go ahead. Okay.
So we'll have that prepared for,
This one, Senate, has to be before July the 1st, I think.
Has to go before the next election, I thought.
that's correct.
So it's, I mean,
So
if
we can
by
get it by
chance
the
it does, it
27th,
has to
bring
be
it back
before the
next.
next official
Okay.
election.
Will it finish publishing by the 27th?
I think so, I think it's the.
I thought it was like a physical year, and the reason being is because it had to run now.
It's about election season. You can't do it while the qualifying's open, I think.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like a little bit preview. I'm just saying if we for some reason miss that, then it's not on.
But it was time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So June the 27th. And you prepare the ordinance for that?
That was $50 per meeting
Mhm.
for everybody. Is that correct?
So do we need to make a motion to
Table
table?
the.
Yeah, do that.
Make a motion to table this till the next meeting.
No second.
All in favor? Thank you. Okay. Next is to the walking trail maintenance.
We just need to decide if we're going to do anything with the number that's in the budget for this fiscal year.
Sure.
That's what I mean, if we're not going to do the hard stuff, we just need to put something.
Get quality mow.
I had like the pricing's in there. And I asked him to get prices on the peat gravel too. He said it does, it's about 3 times more than the mulch. But if you put a structure in place, it will keep it from moving. And maybe something we want to consider in the areas we know are washout areas. But for the time being, I would say at least get some mulch on it.
Yeah.
So it was basically just making sure he was okay with that, because we've already talked about it. And I know we had talked about doing the millings, but it,
I haven't had a chance to go by that park and look or anything. The mulch is fine, maybe right now.
Yeah.
Can they just deliver us 2 or 3 loads, like Ricky done put it in?
I think it's what they did before, and
Yeah.
the price there, it's like 15 yards, I think it's like $41 something to deliver per load. When they did the other playgrounds, it wasn't bad. He said, that I think it was the natural shredded mulch, he said actually, maybe no, the tree mulch was the one he said it actually stays in place better. Said it was least expensive and it stays in place better as far as having it wash off.
So is that what we're gonna do for right now?
That's what I would do. I mean, that's what the guy at the landscape place
Yeah.
suggested. And it was the least expensive, but he just said that's what we had before, and if you're using it for walking surfaces, it holds up better. Till we decide if we're gonna do something different down the line.
What's in the, what do we have in the budget?
It's like 20 grand in there, so, I mean, there's still a pile of money sitting there. That's why I wanted to get, because we needed to order something.
So this is only gonna be about 3.
He told me how to measure it, I just, it's like the length.
Yard.
Well, he
width
said
times the
15,
run.
so 15.
Which one we get it, where you getting it at?
Southscapes.
I
Theirs
think
was,
their truck was 10, I believe.
that's what he told me the yardage for that was 15.
So
The
you
pea
got
gravel was
15?
That's what he said.
Okay. So that. Take your good trail.
He gave me the measurement thing, we just have to measure it, and Ricky may know what it is, like the length times the width times the run. And because he said if we can get the measurements, he can actually help us figure it out. But there's money in the budget to do this. I just didn't want to.
Well, my thing is do we want to spend, how much money is it gonna cost, and do we want to spend the money doing a temporary fix versus a permanent fix? We've been talking about this for a year.
Yeah, but you put the more expensive stuff down, it's gonna wash. You don't put it down there again, we're gonna fix the washes first.
We can go back and fix, like, the areas we know we have problems. We may be able to get like a load of pea gravel or something and kind of have some kind of a drainage thing done. There's only 2 or 3 areas that get really bad, that it's just a complete washout, or it's like muddy and yucky in there. But it's not the whole thing. So even if we put mulch down on everything, because it's small areas, and then get a load of pea gravel after we identify the areas.
If you got it, we're gonna wash, you put that pea gravel down, it'll last a long time.
He even said you can put like little barriers along the side, or we maybe need to do a couple drainage things to pipe it down a few feet so it doesn't keep sitting in that area. But it's something we need to go down and physically look at and identify the areas. But he had suggested a tree mulch.
We could patch it for now and then this winter when Ricky knows got all kind of time.
Yeah,
And we can put the barriers in and do a really good job this winter.
yeah. And I called about his striping, he hasn't gone back yet. Just so you know, that was a Lamar issue too, because you asked about it.
Yeah,
We're getting pricing for striping on Highway 5. He just
You
hasn't
hadn't
gone
called
back yet.
that?
I'll try him again. That was Thursday or Friday, I think we called. But I haven't heard back yet.
Call the paving company on the front number. and
That was the one we called. and left
What
a
the
message.
problem is.
We called Haycock too about the sinkhole.
Yeah.
And haven't heard back from him either. He came and looked at it, he ain't given us a price for like the permanent fix.
Have you guys heard anything more about Highway 5 fixes for the entrance and the on-ramp for Central? I haven't either. So up next is the discuss and vote on the Nelson t-shirts.
I don't know if you had a chance to look at those. There's another picture like towards the back, which was a terrible picture on my phone. But that was more of the look I was going for, which was the same color ink, just a couple shades darker. You can do short sleeve, long sleeve. These were the comfort colored brands. They just, that's what the kids usually wear because they seem to last forever. Didn't know if y'all wanted to go ahead, because we could sell them and then use the proceeds to fund the events that we do down in the park. or we can use it towards the Merle Museum or anything else that we have coming up. And probably, obviously, the more you order, the less they are.
Oh, good idea.
And there's a color sheet too that she sent, and all the colors that we ordered a few for ourselves the other day from her in a denim, wash denim, I think.
Here's that one. Right here. Kind of like that one.
That's, I think, kind of like the pictures that she sent, but they were just generic, where it just says Nelson on the front, and just see what happens with it.
I kind of like that idea, because I know we've got the Marble Festival coming up, and we had no problem selling those shirts when James and I put those out there.
We'd sell them.
We did. So,
David Martin's wife had actually stopped in a while back, because they had, it was when y'all had the general, or the mercantile store, that, but she said they ordered some that just said ball ground on them, and they sold a lot of them. She didn't give me numbers, but she said that it was, sorry.
What she did was ball ground, Georgia, then like established or whatever the year and stuff, so there's like a little more detail than just like ball ground.
Yeah, and I found that, I just didn't want to get to where it had like a whole bunch of stuff on it. It doesn't matter to me what it says. But I
is
just
it
figured
here?
it was
1833. I like that.
1843.
1833. All this stuff too.
Give me some extra money.
There you go. Yeah, I like that idea.
So what are y'all's thoughts?
What do you think, 25 to start with, or 20?
I would, I mean, because you got in those sizes too, and if you want short sleeve or long sleeve. Being summertime, tend to go more on short sleeve, but we always buy long sleeve t-shirts everywhere we go.
It don't matter to me.
I figure it just might help offset the cost, even if it's, because if it doesn't have like a current date on it, where it's just an established date or something, it's not dating it to right now, so it's just an open thing that we can sell till they're gone and decide whether to reorder.
Can I get a motion to do the Nelson t-shirts, 25 of those?
Could they put that emblem on it, the round emblem up, like in the corner or something?
We can do whatever we want, it doesn't matter, I mean, it's just a,
It says established. Agreed.
kind
It's got established.
It should at least say Georgia.
you want the whole thing, or you want it to just say?
Well, Nelson, Georgia, established, we'll play around
Some
with it.
family name else and, you know, on the way to
Anything
deal.
that'll come up is fine, man.
So I need a second on that,
Second.
all in favor?
Do we want short sleeve, long sleeve,
Vote,
or?
we'll do that.
As long as it says Nelson, Georgia established,
Yeah,
so-and-so.
yeah.
Courtesy of Nathan Hammond.
Let's do short sleeve for now, and then if it's okay, we can order short sleeve. Let's do 25.
We need to know what sizes to do, just large or extra large.
I would do large, extra large, and couple of extra large. So
We'll get all the reviews, we'll get it down.
Chad needs a 4X.
I already talked to her about it. And the guys had actually brought up too, the possibility of doing some shirts for them, for work shirts, but in brighter colors, I guess. Ricky had suggested tan, because I don't think he really liked the idea of a fluorescent shirt that you need to wear sunglasses to wear. But if that's something we want to consider, just food for thought. We can both talk about it later, but just planting seeds for right now.
Yeah, see what these looks like.
Yeah, she's doing a couple that, the text that I sent the other day, food and what's on.
for dumpster days, do we need to vote on that?
That's just something. that
Okay, so we've already voted, we just need to, just
I was
make a
just telling
note.
you, that's when it was
July
set.
the 5th to the 15th, dumpster days, July the 5th to the 15th.
And to remind everyone that it's for Nelson residents and
Nelson
video
residents
surveillance.
only, exactly,
And
yeah.
the guy that put the mattress in last time, we saw you. Just gonna get your tag, we'll get your tag next time.
All right, new business, discuss and vote on the fiscal year 2020 budget.
And this is just public hearing.
Okay, so we're not voting, okay, we changed it, so this is the public hearing for the,
Budget and CFP.
for the budget, and then we'll just have to do it next Any changes? I know you guys took the budget home after, and Miranda made the changes we discussed last week in balance to our budget. Is everybody good with that?
There was one thing we need to change, which was the regulatory fee under revenue is listed at $250, and I believe it's $400. That's what all the current paperwork we've been sending out says. I think it was changed like in 2012 or so, because I found both rates in there, but the most recent one is the $400.
Okay.
I'd emailed her this morning, but it wasn't time to do any of this.
Okay. And what is that regulatory fee?
It's like a sanitation stuff, or Santa did say.
Okay, fees changed. From 200 to 400?
Yeah, that was listed at 250, but it had been changed years ago.
And that's something we pay out?
No, that's what we received. That's revenue. Like that sanitation company.
Okay, so it's not a deficit in our budget, so it's still balanced, it's just,
Yeah,
okay. Okay. Alrighty, next is to discuss the capital improvement. We won't be voting on it. Did anybody have any questions on capital improvement? I know that there was a date on there was a couple, put in here, and Lauren made a note of it. The dates are, we don't have the 2020 or the 2020 column on there, and Miranda needs to change that before the 27th, but it's just, I think it's just a typo. It starts with 2021, and it actually should have started with 2020. Yeah. And I think the reason that happened was because of Cherokee County SWAS ran from, our Pickens County will run from 2021 to 2026, so. But we'll get that corrected. Any questions on our capital improvement plan? Make a motion, I need a motion to open, we just open.
Just say it's open.
Okay, for the capital improvement, should we do it with the budget?
You can just
Okay,
do a
combine.
combined public hearing on both.
Okay, public hearing for the 2020 budget and the capital improvement. Anybody have anything on that? Remark?
Let's see, is this the official public hearing for?
Yes, it is.
Do you have any feel for how much surplus you're going to have in 2019's budget? How much carryover you're going to have?
For the budget, we hope to not have any carryover if we complete all of our projects. Miranda can speak to that more on the 27th. There will be some, because we're not going to hear that.
Okay, that leads me into my real question.
But we're going to push it. But those projects will be done this year before January. It's just not going to be done before July 1st.
I noticed on the general fund budget, there's a new line entry down there, use of prior year reserves, and I had suggested, I believe both to the mayor and to Miranda,
Hold on one second.
front page of the 2020 general fund budget.
There we go. Use of reserves, yeah, okay.
Okay, it's at least one or two prior years, I've suggested this, and I think it was last year, but it was a year prior to that, we actually did set some money aside for abatement on the vacant, unsafe houses. Okay, this is the line item where some funding should be to do the abatement.
Yep.
And if you don't have it within the, your regular budget, which you've already carved that up, so you would need to move some funds from your surplus, which you've shown a surplus for the past 5 years.
Yeah, and the
So
reason
there's
that
plenty
we
of
haven't
surplus.
moved that, we did talk about it, but the
And,
reason that it hasn't been moved is because we're in the process of identifying those houses. We've done work on identifying the houses, we've got a couple over on
Blue Ridge Avenue.
Blue Ridge Avenue, and we're working with the owners right now to have those houses either cleaned up, removed, whatever. If they don't, then we'll take action.
well, in order to take action, we'll need funding.
Yes,
So we need a number in this line item. If it's not within the existing budget, then I suggest that you just transfer 5,000 or whatever is a good number.
Jeff, can we not, as we identify those houses, can we not pull from the reserve fund, have it voted on and pull from the reserve fund in order to tear down and get rid of those houses?
You can amend the budget during the year as you go.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to move it into your budget. You can't just pull it out of surplus.
Yes, but it requires a vote, right? Okay.
So that's why I'm saying, since you're preparing a budget for the coming year, if you're anticipating you'll probably be needing some funds, it would be good to go ahead and put some in there.
That's true.
And the other question I had is, apparently what we get from the millage rate for fire tax is 45,000, which is up at the top of the same page I just referred to. Third item. Where in reality we paid 92,000,
Yeah,
so we're not
I believe
paying
this
all
is,
of that out
That's
of
just the
taxes.
that's just the Cherokee County side.
Yeah, no.
45, yeah.
Which we pay up to $90,000, something in that range.
But I think what she's saying is this isn't including the Pickens side, because the Pickens still pays the fire tax. Pickens County, like on the tax bill from Pickens County, they have a line item for fire tax as well, I believe. You totally put my foot in my mouth. But I think it's just that it might have been just left off in here. But I think normally it comes right out to that amount, if I'm remembering correctly.
It would seem to me that number should be the combination of
Yeah, we looked
Pickens
at that.
and Cherokee.
I think it used to be a combination and then someone split it and it just hasn't been.
That's a bit fixed yet.
I just remember there being something brought up about it a couple years ago.
I'll get with Miranda on that, thank you.
Yeah.
Miranda, so we need to know where the Pickens County fire tax
Yes.
is located at, because I don't see it in
And
It come out on the assessment this year.
It's just, he said
It
it's
did,
just a
it's
line
just
item
not in
on
our
here.
budget. I
It
think
shows the
it just,
Cherokee side, but not.
it used to be
Pickens side.
combined and now it's not for some reason. But we'll get that one looked at and fixed.
so somewhere that Pickens side money doesn't show up in your budget.
Yeah. Thank you for catching that.
So now you've got plenty of money to fund the abatement line.
Yeah, if you, right now, like I said, we're in the process of talking with people and trying to get them to take ownership of their stuff. If you move money in that line item for that, then you use it for that. And I don't want that money to get stuck in that line item either, so.
But it's just like everything else, if you don't use it, you
Yeah.
just put it back in surplus. But it's in there if you need it.
Yeah.
Okay, the other question I had on the general fund budget, you're over in your, essentially your maintenance, I noticed you've over doubled the salaries. Are we gonna have like a second full-time employee?
No, he's part-time. We have a part-time employee that's working with the maintenance department.
I think she had it split before in temporary labor and
Yeah.
seasonal labor, contract labor.
We
I think
did.
all that was put in.
And I think we have voted to keep some contract labor because of getting the pipes cleaned out and things that we had discussed. And then and then we added money for our second person.
Okay. Let me move to the capital budget.
This is what? Yeah, but we didn't budget for what's your other one, Laura?
Capital budget.
Okay, capital improvement?
Okay, you're, as I mentioned earlier in the evening
Yeah.
to you, the front of the capital improvement plan says 2019 through 2023.
We'll have that fixed before that.
And, then, if you go within the CIP, it really hasn't been updated to show numbers that are going to be transferred from 2019, because there's obviously a lot of projects for 2019 that you're not going to be able to accomplish.
There, yeah, some of our road paving and stuff like that from 2019 is not, we won't be able to hit all of it.
Parks and
Yeah.
a lot of other things. So now you're doing a capital budget on numbers that you haven't even moved into 2020 in your CIP.
Yeah, and they won't move until January for this, from what I understand.
But you're doing a FY 2020 capital budget on numbers that you're not going to adjust until January.
Is it because we were behind, I believe? I think so. So, and she'll be here on the 27th and can answer a little bit more of those questions, but we were behind on approving our capital improvement plan for the year. That was the main issue. It didn't get done, it hadn't been done for a couple of years. And it's a big thing when that don't happen. There's a lot of, the state gets involved, and then you have to write a plan out of what you're going to do and how you're going to correct it. And that's been an ongoing process for at least the last 6 months that I know of. Miranda's done an outstanding job at putting that in place for us. So we're approving and I believe this is the 2020 that we had, that was the state, that we have to get approved from the state. Some of these projects will move into 2020 from 2019, and our dates are off.
But you're going to be doing a public hearing like 2 weeks from now
Yes, we are.
on numbers that you haven't even moved yet.
I can't answer to that right now. I mean, honestly, if Miranda was
You
here,
see what?
I understand what you're
Problem.
saying. Yeah, I do. And I will get with her. I made a note of it. I will get with her and ask her what's going on, and then I'll get back with you on it. And I appreciate your eyes on it. I really do. You've, you keep us on our toes. I appreciate it. Now, I'm making a note that I owe you a response to that, and I will get it. Okay. So anybody else with any issues on capital improvement? Anybody else have anything for our public hearing, any questions regarding budget or capital improvement? Okay, can I get a motion to close? Do we need a motion to close the public hearing? Okay, I'm closing the public hearing then. There you go. All right. Next up is Keith Johnston's shared property lines.
We have speed bumps.
Say that again.
Speed bumps.
Oh, sorry. Discuss and vote on affordable speed bumps. I thought we already voted on this and we decided that we couldn't do it
Regular
because.
speed bumps. We've had people come in complaining about Blue Ridge Avenue. The guy that moved in, the last name Dept, I think his mom passed away. He's in that house. He's got grandkids or something. I think it's your next door neighbor, a couple homes up from you. With their kids playing and cars flying, and I've seen them. I mean, I think the big issue were the big trucks, trash trucks and stuff flying down there, and the possibility that kids are going to be out. I know they were out whenever I came down today, and there was a dog running around. So I wanted to look into the possibility of doing portable ones that we can put up whenever we notice a problem with signage. So there is cost stuff in here, including shipment and stuff.
Is there any, and I know
Because it's
we
not permanent, so
asked, it's not, but is there any liability back onto the city if cars are damaged or anything like that?
I guess there's always that risk, though.
If the one's going too fast before they hit something.
The question would be
it's
with
damaged.
something like a speed bump, would be probably whether it's properly marked, and whether there's proper signage.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
then people won't notice about it.
Yeah.
I think there's
Must
probably
be like a sign or anything up that stretch there, is it?
We did just add that stuff, so we can put, I had Ricky go around and get a few extra ones.
Probably with the marking, but I think
A
we've
lot down that hill.
seen cities with permanent speed bumps. They don't even have signs, but they're yellow, they're obviously marked, and that would be the, I think, the issue that just needs to be made sure that people can see
Yeah,
them
just so
coming.
they know it's there. There's some temporary ones, like if you leave the city and you're going towards the four-way and take the road that splits off, right before you get that four-way, because people were flying down there using it as a cut through, and they put the portable ones in there. You just nail them in, I guess, with like the same type that nails these for the railroads. But it's enough to make it slow down. But that way it's not permanent, it's something that we can take up. But just wanted y'all's thoughts, because I know we had talked about permanent ones previously. But we had complaints there. That's been a big one, and going down Baker Street, somebody was complaining about the same thing there, just cars ripping through there.
Well, but, yeah, it got brought up about Cherokee Avenue up there.
I think some of the ones on Cherokee were having to do with water diversion too, because they were going in, I was reading some of the emails on those, because they were going in at an angle
Mhm.
to help some of that runoff, but this would be more just to slow down. So we don't have to vote tonight, we can discuss
Well,
it
we
next
just, I
time.
mean,
but it's
I'm good
just-
with voting on it, we just,
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. As long as we do it legally.
As long as we do it legally.
give signs, you know.
Signage, I think, would be the big thing, but Mr. Duckett's been here probably 4 times asking, I told him we had the research was there, it was just some that we needed to discuss openly instead of.
so when we do that, we just need to make sure we've got proper markings and signs after that.
Yeah.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the temporary speed bumps?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Guess I'm gonna put you on that. And then Keith Johnston, shared property lines. Yes, sir, please come to the podium. State your name, your address, that good stuff.
Keith Johnston, 18 Kentucky Street. I submitted documentation, we're going to be starting improvements on those 2 houses, the Beaver House and the Lincoln House. And 2 of those property lines are shared with the city. I know the city has plans for capital improvement in that area. I don't know what the timing is for that little park, but if there is going to be some boundaries set before I begin, maybe we share the cost, or I don't know. I just want to bring it up as it's a shared property line, and if there's some mitigation or working together on that to make it happen, look nice. And
There's a survey map in under letter D. Go and see what he's talking about.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to something temporary there, but I really wouldn't want anything permanent until because this is something that we are gonna do relatively quickly, as far as our capital improvement plan, as far as extending the basketball court, paving that area, putting some parking spots up there. So I wouldn't mind doing something temporary so you can get get it marked off and get it going, because I know you're gonna cut a road in, correct?
actually, before that particular aspect of the boundary is the backside of the water tower and the side of the water tower area is primarily what I'm interested in, because that would be permanent to whomever purchases the homes.
Okay.
So I can forestall the front of the Lincoln House until the city decides if it wants to put a brick wall halfway, a sitting wall, whatever you want to do with that one section. But particularly on the back side of the water tower.
Okay.
And there's a giant cement something next to behind the water tower that's just on the property line. It was some
I
structure
asked
from.
Ms. Cochran, she said there used to be another water tower up there.
So maybe
It's a foundation.
that could be removed. It's like a foundation of some old structure right behind the water tower next to the property line. So
We can look at that. I don't know what we can do with it right this minute, but we will look at it.
Yeah. So no rush on the fencing thing, I just wanted to bring it up as a,
Let's take a look, see what's there.
I'll let you present it, because I wasn't sure exactly.
sure, and I'm not sure either.
Yeah.
Have you got the property lines marked?
Yes.
You do? Okay. On the back side back there?
How big is that piece of property?
What piece?
The one you're talking about?
City property?
No, your property.
I think it's on document.
36 acres. Are y'all getting septic approvals and everything on this through the county?
We have had it inspected and it was verified by a septic company that was fine.
But you got a letter from the county that it's fine and everything?
I haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay.
One more item regarding the website, particularly maybe for you, David. My owner marketing company have done hundreds of websites. No money from the fees for the city is going to me at all. It's all going to my gentleman who does the back-end coding.
Gotcha.
So I don't gain financial from it at all. I'm donating my.
I just think when they get more than one price to look at
Gotcha.
and see if we really need to invest that much in a website. Which I don't use one myself, but other than that sucks.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, a lot of you younger people are using them, I mean, and I use them too. Every time I went out, I mean, when I wanted to go look at Waleska's budget and I wanted to go look at Bob Brown's budget, you can go right on there and you just pull it right off there. I mean, and I don't know that I'm pretty sure that the younger generation in the city will use it more than the older people because they just don't, you know, they don't use it. And I get that.
And it would be able, all of your city documents would be on there to download, all your building permits, anything at all, your codes and everything would all be stored in the website and downloadable in PDFs.
And I like that because all the work could be done prior to even coming in. And in the generic websites, like the one from the GMA, they don't offer that. This was an all-inclusive, so you've got your PDF stuff that formatting that's already included in the website that makes it easy for people like myself or you or anybody else to go in and download a document, put it on your desktop, fill it out, print it. You can email it back, should be able to email it right back through the website to Kelsey, or you'd be able to bring it in if you chose to print it out and do it that way.
The architecture of your current website is about 10 years old. It's not mobile friendly, and a lot of technology has changed over the years, and whether I do it or anybody does it, it's well overdue for being updated.
Yeah, we do have people calling and trying to pay on their phone, going, I can't get, yeah.
See, I'm old school.
I know, but I mean, it's just there.
Time just changed, David.
I know.
Thank you, Keith, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cherokee County Tax Office notice error.
I actually got mine in the mail today. And apparently there was just a typo on the assessments from the Cherokee side that doubled the millage rate for
And
the
the fire
city.
tax.
Well, it combined them, the Nelson City tax and the fire tax into one, and then it added an additional one for the city on top of that.
So anybody here from Cherokee County that didn't get a letter, you
Mine came- I got
should be
mine.
getting
I
it.
went ahead of them and they said it was wrong.
Yeah. So when they send the bill out, they said in 2 weeks that the bill will be correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I gave them a call and chatted with them
I
as
went
well.
one day and got the letter the day or two.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that's double.
All right, so that is there, and then we have public appearance. All I ask is that you come to the podium, state your name, your address, and follow the rules and regulations if you choose to speak.
Good evening, my name is Michael Brown. I stay at 1445 Pickens Street, Baldwin, Georgia, 30107. My phone number is 678-471-0951. I'm not here to fight anybody else's battle. I'm not fighting my own. I'm here because I've been here 12 years. And I have not, in many years, 11 years, gotten so many citations from the city hall in these little piddly and stuff, you know, like kids would do. I did everything that you all asked me to do. You asked me to tear a house down, I did that. You asked me to clean my yard up, I did that. You asked me to get my dogs pinned in, I did that. You asked me about the music, that got done. Except for yesterday when it was a surprise party. But the thing of it is, the property is not for sale. And for Keith to keep running down here like a little child, and all these stacks of complaints, and these people are nowhere in this city. And I checked it, and one person that you all said that was complaining about my music stays somewhere on Canton Highway, Highway 5. And I'm up here in Pickens Street.
Everyone that's put a complaint in has lived in the city.
Well, these people that I talked to, the complaint that you sent to me, they said they never did that. This is somebody either using their names because they don't have no problem with nobody.
No, that's not true, because everything I sent you had the name, it was photocopied.
Well, the thing about it is we have cameras out here to back our stuff up. And the deal is this, I'm not gonna handle a dispute between you and your neighbor, any neighbor. That is between you and your neighbor.
Wait, well, unless we have a policy stating.
If there's an ordinance and you're not following the ordinance, then you're gonna get a letter from us.
But I follow the ordinance, but it still comes up.
Well, you
that
weren't
I'm doing
following
something wrong.
because you had your dog pinned at somebody else's house, and you did.
No. Well, hold up on that.
No.
Let me
I'm
explain
speaking.
that. Okay.
So you had your dog pinned at somebody else's house, and your dog was there was issues. You asked to put a fence in. We didn't tell you to put a
Okay,
fence
I
in.
put
This
this in,
ground.
but let's get back on the dog issue at another person's house. The dog that was at the Weaver house, that was his dog. He left the dog.
But you had it.
Only reason
You
I
had it,
had
and you tied it up over there. The
Yeah,
man
because
was
that's
gone.
what-
The house was sold, and you
I
tied that
didn't know
dog up
that,
over there.
but I didn't know
With
that.
no water and no food in. I don't care who you are, I don't appreciate that.
But look, I'm thinking, if I didn't know that he had sold the house, because I was the one who
I
was
don't-
feeding the dog.
I'm
The dog
just
had
making-
11 puppies, and that's how the dog
Your
got
time
to
is
the house.
up. Your time is up. I'm done. If you have a dispute with
Oh,
your
well,
neighbor,
I'm going to say it like this. You won't be talking to me next time.
Well-
I'll talk to the commissioners on both sides, and I do have an attorney.
you talk with whoever
And
you
they-
need.
they're-
Your dispute with your neighbor.
Well, my neighbor's
your
just
dispute-
crazy.
Well,
And
but that's not my problem.
This whole council up here.
Can I get a motion to
You y'all
adjourn?
decide, yeah, y'all always dismiss me when you get into an argument or something.
Get a second?
You always do.
All in favor?
You always,
Unanimous,
that shows
thank
you how
you.
childish you all are, and uneducated.
Have a nice day,
Always.
Mr. Brown. Appreciate your comments, sir.